Got him. Got that one. He's a good one, folks. Monster bass. Oh, look at that fish. Oh, easy does it. My poppin' walker got it. My poppin' walker. Oh, I got him on that. Oh, I got him pretty good. Ah, yeah! Came right up for that bait right there. Look at that. Oh my goodness. All right. Come on, baby. Welcome to Apache Lake, huh? First thing in the morning. Beautiful fish. I'm throwing a poppin' walker made by Persuader Baits, and I'm telling you, this bait is new on the market and is so cool. You know, if you like to throw walking type baits, this bait's for you. And let me get the line out from underneath it here. Boy, he tore me up pretty good. I'll retie. But take a good look at that bait right there. Brand new. Look how fat it is underneath. It walks so good. The difference is, check out the lip. It pops. So as you're walking the bait, it spits and pops a little bit, makes a swooshing noise, almost like something's trying to run. And I'll tell you what, man, that bait is incredible. We just had a 5-pounder blow up on I saw the fish and I didn't get him. I don't know how I didn't get him, but I think I got a little overzealous. But this bait by Persuader Baits, I'm telling you, something these fish have not seen here yet. And we're gonna see if we can catch a few fish on it first thing this morning anyway, and for my topwater fishing. Now, normally this is the time of year I like to grab like Zero Spooks, walking baits like that, your Rico Suaves, but this bait right here is something else. You have to throw this bait. What I'm actually kind of using a medium heavy rod, but it's got a real good tip on it where I can walk the bait, just slow twitches. And then I'm using monofilament line, and I'm using 17-pound. You don't want to go any less than 17-pound with a bait like this, okay? And the reason why I'm using monofilament line is because fluorocarbon sinks. The monofilament will float. So you wanna stick with, and it has a little stretch in it too. And I like that when you're messing with treble hooks. You know, I mentioned on a show for topwater, for my buzz baits, I like braid, but not for these kind of baits. And the reason why, and I know people like braid, and listen, if you're catching them on braid and you're used to doing that, that's fine. I'm gonna tell you why I don't. There's no stretch in braid. So if you don't have the proper rod that's got enough flex on it and the proper drag, a lot of times you can tear these little treble hooks up. You saw I had him on the back treble hook. If I tried whaling on him with braid with no give, I just, you know, you gotta, when you catch the fish, I don't know how to explain it, but this is you gotta be a lot softer in getting them to the boat than just whaling on them, because you'll pull the hooks right out. So you wanna be real careful with that. That's the reason why I go to the monofilament. It has a lot more stretch in it than the braid for these kind of baits. All right, I can retie in there. That was a nice fish. What we're gonna do is cut off a little bit of this line and retie. And what I do, it's got a nice, this particular bait has an awesome little O-ring right there where you can tie to it inside. But, let me get my bait in there. I tie a Palomar Knot, and I'm sure you all heard about that one. And it's a real easy knot to tie. If you haven't had the opportunity to tie it yet, just make your loop like so, just like so, make a loop. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just make one overhand tie here, just like so. And you want a big loop. Now this big loop that I just made, you see how I got it tied? You always wanna wet your knot. You don't wanna have any friction on your knot. And you're gonna pull the bait right through the loop, just like so. Here's the ticket to this. You wet it, you only pull on the tag end, okay? Only pull on the tag end. Because when you pull on the normal end, the business end, what I call the business end, you'll have no friction there. So it'll stay straight for you. And then you just cut it off. All right. Got that one. Just slow rolling that bait. Right on that flat. Oh, that's a giant. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh, man, I can't believe I just lost that fish. It didn't feel that big. That was a giant. That was a giant. Look what he did to my blade. That's what I get for trying to pull that dude up. To show the TV. Oh man. Persuader Spinnerbait, look at the head on that thing. This has got a little E-chip in it. What that is, and you can see it right here. What that is there's a little BB in there that when it slaps back and forth and hits the back of the chip, it hits a little pulsator in there, and it makes a little wave or whatever, like shad running. It's a new bait on the market from Persuader Baits, spinnerbait. I had the fish on. That was a giant. My bad. I was trying to get him to come up so we could see him, and that's part of the deal. Whew. What a giant. What I'm doing is I'm throwing a 1/2 ounce bait, and I'm slow rolling it. I'm throwing a fast retrieve ratio reel, which is kind of tough for me because I like 5.2 to 1, but this is a 6.2 to 1 ratio reel, and if you can put yourself in a position to where you know you can slow down, then it's okay to use the faster retrieve reels. 7 foot, medium heavy rod. I'm just bumping it along the bottom. That's why I'm using a 1/2 ounce. I figured I'd, with a little bit of breeze on the water like what we have, you'd think the spinnerbait would start coming alive, especially in the fall. And wow. Boy, I've had some opportunity today. Whew. All right, let's get our composure back. But what I'll do to make that little chip do its thing every once in a while is I'll just kind of bump the bait if I'm not bumping a rock or something like that. But every time you bump a rock, that little E-chip will do its signal. And attract them bass. It attracts the predators, that's for sure. Hey folks, for my tip of the week, one thing really important about fishing this spinnerbait, once you find, whether you're gonna decide to reel it fast and burn it on top of the water or reel it slow, one thing that'll help you, if you're gonna reel it kind of fast, you always wanna make sure that the blades are a little bit closer to the hook. That'll bring it through the water a little bit faster. It'll keep your bait from rolling, okay? So you always wanna make sure that you if you're gonna reel it fast, pinch your wire down a little bit closer to where it's closer to the hook, okay? Now, if you wanna slow roll it like what I've been kind of doing, throwing it up there and just kind of slow rolling it down, I like to spread the wire out a little bit. It allows it for a better free fall, and I'll tell you what, you can reel it really slow and it gives it more thump. So if you spread the wire out a little bit, that'll help it for a slow roll. So remember, for slow rolling, spread the wire out. If you're gonna reel it across really fast, then pinch the wire down, and that'll help you catch a lot more bass. Got him. That one bit. Here he comes. Oh, good fish too. Not as big as the last one, but that's a good fish. Oh, look at that. All right. Little spinnerbait bass. Oh, got it. When the wind starts kicking, better be throwing that spinnerbait. Look at there. Beautiful fish. Wow. I got good color to them. They're healthy here at Apache. Let me tell you, healthy. You know, all we're doing basically is going down the bank, throwing the spinnerbait. After missing that big fish I just had on, I figured, well, I'm gonna keep throwing this thing. It's new, and I'll just cover some water. Cover some water, slow rolling it, 1/2 ounce. And the reason why for the 1/2 ounce is that way, you know, my slow roll will help it get down there a little bit. Here's another key to this bait that's really cool. Look at the willow leaf blade, how it's hammered right in this area, and it really puts off a maximum flash. You know, and we're using 2 nickel blades today. So, you know, if they're chasing the shad, really going after the shad, I want my bait to look kind of shaddy, so here we are, you know. Of course, I have my little grub trailer on the back. Now I'm throwing this on, I gotta retie, I'm throwing it on 17-pound test line. Now, one thing that a lot of people do that you shouldn't do, and I've seen them do it quite often, especially on the upper lakes where I live, is they like to use swivels. Swivels are good in certain situations, but not for a spinnerbait. A spinnerbait, you have to actually tie right to the wire, okay? So when you do that, your swivel's not sliding up and down the arm of the bait, because you don't want it to do that. You want to be able to tie right there where that little spot is. This bait's a lot of fun to throw. When the wind's blowing, you can't beat a spinnerbait in the fall. There we go. Okay, our spinnerbait's ready to go. But like I said, you always tie direct. Don't ever use a swivel on these types of baits. I don't recommend it at all. And I know it's faster to switch out with a swivel, but you need to tie. You need to learn to tie that Palomar knot. It's a fast knot. You can get it on there and catch fish on that bait. But I'll tell you what, that Persuader spinnerbait right now is the ticket. You can see that little E chip right there. I like that. It's doing its job, man. We haven't been out here very long. I decided to pick up the spinnerbait, caught that big fish, and now we're going down the bank and just caught that one. So hopefully we'll get us a couple of big fish today. This is perfect weather for the spinnerbait, let me tell you. Perfect weather. Throwing it around rock and points. Points are good areas too to hit. But you come by a big boulder, you better make sure that you get that bait right there. Casting's the ticket. You know, you gotta make sure that wherever you're casting, that you learn how to be a little bit forgiving as far as if it hits the bank, you want it to kind of come off the bank a little bit, especially on the steeper stuff. Unless you could see it coming down, I can see boulders and stuff, say, you know, with my polarized sunglasses coming out. But a lot of times I'm just hitting the bank. But what I mean by being forgiving is let it fall. Let it just take a little bit of a fall right there by the bank, and then start, always twitch my rod tip just like so and get the blades popping, and then start reeling it. It's a pretty much weedless bait, so you won't have to worry about getting hung up too much unless you hang on a fish. I love this kind of fishing. You can throw this on a spinning outfit. If you're not used to throwing a bait caster, you can throw it on a spinning outfit, but I still recommend using 14-pound test line on that. It's just a little tougher. You can throw this on braid. Folks throw it on braid all the time. You can throw a spinnerbait on braid. Now what you'll do is the sun comes out throughout the day too, is one thing that's really important. You can see the little shade spots. Those fish will use that for ambush areas. So they'll be hiding in that shade right there, waiting to ambush something coming out. So you want to be sure that you try to hit the shade areas as well. Got him. Wow, that's a good fish too. Little spinnerbait bass. Did I lose him? Nope, he's there. He's following the boat. Look at that. Look at the size of that fish, folks. Oh! It's 2 big ones today. That's 2 big ones today. just come out to deep water. How does that sound? Ooh, oh, that's a nice one. Little redemption. Come on, baby. It's on that quail tail worm there. Oh, come on, you're not a giant like what I've been losing, but I'll take it. You know, folks, look how fat that fish is. Look at that. Nice looking fish. Now I went to a drop shot. I came out to a little bit deeper water. What had happened is the wind just died. And with that went the spinnerbait bite too. We had a little bit of a spinnerbait bite going on with that wind, that breeze blowing and throwing off the points. And so what else would I do but come out here and try to catch a few fish out here and throw this drop shot a little bit just to see. Now these fish, a lot of these bigger fish will probably come out here a little bit deeper unless I start seeing some chasers. You know, this time of year, when the water calms down, sometimes you can see those shad chasers, and when that happens, then you can pick up your top waters or, you know, something like that to throw back in there, your spoons. But I haven't seen that too much today at all. We had a cold front blow through a couple of days ago, and it's just bluebird skies. It's beautiful out, but I'm gonna fish around a little bit. Well, you know, that's the one thing you have to learn how to do in this game is to adjust. You know, I was catching some monster fish off that spinnerbait. I loved it, but like I said, I've been throwing it the last hour without a bite. The wind calmed down. It's slick water almost. And when that happens, I like to pull out a little bit and maybe start hunting some of those fish that are, you know, around some structure or, you know, habitats or things like that. And see if I can see some of them shad moving around a little bit. Go out to deeper water, find that. Maybe we can find, you know, this time of year you might be able to find a spoon bite, anything like that. So the drop shot's that go-to bait when everything gets tough. There's just no way of hardly getting around it. Well, it's been a tough day today, but somewhat of a successful day. If I hadn't lost those fish, and that's something every fisherman says, if I hadn't lost those fish, we got to see them. They were some nice fish. Pick yourself up some good spinnerbaits. I'll tell you what, this Persuader Spinnerbait's one of awesome spinnerbait. You can find it in your local tackle stores, and I'll guarantee you'll catch a lot of fish on it. And of course, some drop shots. Don't forget the quail tail worms. Of course, you always need to make sure you have drop shots on you. And drop shot worms. The quail tail worm from Cactus Run Outdoors is an awesome worm. And then, of course, the topwater baits. In the fall, it's wide open. Get out and enjoy yourself, because right now is the time you might catch the biggest fish of your life. Until next time, we'll see you on the water. I'm Johnny Johnson.